Hopefully these bullet ants don't kill me. So I haven't smoked tobacco in over 5 years at least. I've quit many times. This last time it seems to stuck now. So I want to share why I started smoking, why I got into tobacco, how I quit, what some of the methods I used that did help me in the past that I ended up relapsing with, and ultimately what I did to stop this last time that I haven't even had the urge to have any type of tobacco in years. I'll start out by telling you the story of when I started smoking, and I guess I'll bring it way back. So my mom smoked when she was pregnant with me, so I was getting smoke in my lungs as a fetus. Again, I hope the wind ain't terrible. Growing up, you know, she'd leave cigarettes in her ashtrays and stuff, and I think maybe around middle school I'd had some obnoxious friends that came over and saw it and wanted to be cool. And she used to smoke the Marlboro Light 100s was one of them, or USA Gold 100s or something, and those were absolute shit. They smelled like shit, they tasted like shit. I couldn't understand how she could smoke those, and I remember just how bad the car would smell in our house. Surprisingly, I'm surprised I even started smoking after that, just based on my first couple experiences. But I would say then later on in high school, I was always into sports, so again, I wasn't too much interested in smoking. However, a lot of my friends were cowboys or ranchers, farming type, and they all dipped, chewed tobacco. Some of that Copenhagen winter cut. And my stepdad also chewed Wolf, the cheaper fine cut shit that was worse. And I swear he would gut some of that, but anyway, it was disgusting. I mean, I think I actually started chewing tobacco before I like regularly smoked it, just because I had some friends doing it. I hated it. The first time, like, I remember we were all probably booze cruising in the country or something, and I remember, I got real sick. They were trying to do cookies on the corners in the country, and I just got really sick. I wanted to throw up. Someone did throw up. That was his first time chewing. And I wasn't even swallowing it. It was just, you do get that nicotine high, that buzz in your head that is similar when you smoke for the first time, which once after you start smoking, you don't really feel that same nicotine high, in my opinion. So I mostly got into smoking though, like after I went to a few parties. I was getting more involved with the theater group. And most of them, or I don't know if most, a lot of them smoked. Before play practice in the mornings, before school, we'd all get together and go to our friend, I don't care, she probably won't care, JC. I mean, it was fun times. I have really fond memories hanging out with all the theater group people. And the main few of us, the lead people, would get together at JC's place and smoke some Marlboro Reds and drink coffee and then go to play practice. And after school, if we didn't have sports or something like during one of the seasons I wasn't involved in or something, we would go drive out in the country or drive to Kearney, just smoke, like just hang out, listen to music, smoke. It was kind of a weird mix for me, feeling like part jock and part thespian. I don't know what we call these people anymore, but the actors, the creative types, the rebels, the anarchists. Because I kind of had my foot dipped in both pools a little bit. But anyway, so just from partying so much kind of got me addicted to smoking every weekend. But then I was smoking every morning, going to play practice, and I would try to cut it down during basketball season. So sometimes I'd go back to chewing. So I don't want to advocate for like that helping you quit smoking, but it did help me quit smoking a few times because I was still getting nicotine, just in a different way, but it definitely is not good for your oral care. So off and on, I would chew and smoke, but predominantly smoke. And after a while, I knew cigarettes were bad. And I used to smoke Marlboro Reds starting out. I remember then I did enjoy Marlboro Smooth, the menthols. A lot of people hate menthols, so I actually liked getting them so people would quit bumming them off me so much. And it didn't always work, but yeah, there's times I do remember enjoying those. Then I smoked some Waves. Those were some cheaper brands I remember enjoying sometimes. But ultimately, yeah, it got expensive. It wasn't satisfying me as much. Like, I felt like I just smoked because I was stressed all the time. And it actually makes you more stressed because you're waiting until when's my next break so I can cut some of the stress out a little bit. And that's not good to rely on that. I switched to cigars for a while. I know, especially when I was working up in Grand Island, my boss would buy these big old, what were the brand? Escapes me now. Swisher. I think they were part of the Swisher brand, maybe. But they weren't the colorful. And I did buy some of the fruity ones, like grape and strawberry, and those kind of suck. The cheap, like $2 for 2 cigar things or something, like $1. I don't know. I would buy them a lot because I'd only smoke half of one at a time, so I felt like I was smoking less tobacco when I switched to cigars, and it was cheaper. I was also, like, you get the little butt ends of the cigars that have a little bit of tobacco left in it. I just cut those open and re-roll some like regular cigarettes with just the cigar roaches, which was just like stingy as fuck. Like, yeah, I definitely was addicted to tobacco for a long time. And then the vaping fad happened and everyone switched to oil and vaping nicotine, which we all thought was better and safer. Little did I know the amount of nicotine in that was way more, which became way more addictive for me. I was buying, I don't want to even promote the company, but I was buying these pods, and they were expensive as shit. They only lasted me like every few days, so I was spending a lot more money switching to vape, which we all thought was healthier, and I was doing it more often because I could do it inside. You know, whenever I felt the urge, I just pull out my pocket and hit the vape. And I feel like that caused more stress long term and more anxiety a little bit. And that was very difficult to quit the pods too, the vape, the nicotine vape. So how'd I quit all these in between? I mentioned I chewed tobacco for some of it, and that got me to quit for a while. The most successful thing I did when I was healthier was I decided, you know, I was really on this mental kick of like how you can change your behaviors within, it only takes like 21 days to rewire your brain. So in my mind, I was going to replace one bad habit with one good habit. So I started working out every day after work. I would even leave work early because I would be going in early. So I could get home by 5 o'clock and put in like 2 hours. Hey, cricket, get out of here. Don't be running up on me. So I'd put in 2 hours of a decent workout after work, and I was just doing some weights, some free weights. I had a bench back then. I had a pull-up bar that I was hanging up, doing inverted gravity stuff. I was getting pretty fit, and I was eating well. I was eating salads and eggs and reducing all the sugary crap, and I was trying to better my health, I remember, and that did help a lot to replace your habits. Every time I felt the urge to smoke, I'd go do 10 push-ups or 20. I don't remember how much I was doing, but I'd also make sure every day I stayed consistent with that schedule. And then because I also knew, like, just from the chemical releases of working out, are going to mask or overrule a lot of those cravings we get when we go through withdrawal of nicotine. So that did last a few years. You know, I thought that would be the ticket to get me to stop smoking for good, is just keep a good, healthy habit and routine. Unfortunately, stress caught back up with me in life, and you know, I remember just going through periods where I just did not give a fuck. I didn't care if I died sooner or later. I was down and depressed, and I didn't really care for a while. So I did the only thing I remembered I used to do during tough times, and which is kind of counterintuitive, because when you're broke as shit and trying to get healthy, like smoking's the last thing you would really want to pick up again. But I did, and I know I didn't go full back into cigarettes. I just started buying cigars again and smoke them occasionally. And I just, you know, smoking to me, I remembered it wasn't like, it kind of like takes the edge off in the moment, but I remember just waking up feeling like shit every morning. Like my mouth tasted like a fucking carpet, just from the dried out smoke. You know, and cigar smoke does kind of linger longer. It smells better in my opinion than cigarettes and shit, but it's still bad. I just started to I felt sick, you know, I felt bad. I felt like I didn't want to feel like this the rest of my life. So I knew I wanted to change it. So I'll say the last thing that helped me, and I would give a lot of credit. Well, I won't say the last thing. There's been a couple things that helped me. One of them has been cannabis. Predominantly CBD, because that's the most available in my state, because we suck. But as far as helping like some of the mental health aspects of why I wanted to smoke, or what would make me crave smoking, cannabis helped me alleviate that. And I know some people struggle with cannabis addiction and being reliant on that as well. So I think just like whatever drug you choose, you just have to analyze if it's helping and benefit your life, or is it making you procrastinate or making you sick. And you know, you really got to try as hard as you can to be non-biased and just analytical about, does this substance help me? Does it get me through? And I mean, some people will justify and make that argument for nicotine to give them that awareness so they don't fall asleep at work or whatever, you know, excuse you want. But as far as like mental health and physical health, I've seen nothing but benefits ever since I stopped smoking nicotine and tobacco, and I started smoking CBD and cannabis, THC, occasionally. That might be controversial to some still, I don't know. It feels weird, like some people, I feel like in the world, just assume like, oh, it's all legal now, it's all good. And then some people forget, like there's states that are so archaic and backed into the pharmaceutical industry that they refuse to legalize a harmless, nearly harmless plant. Meanwhile, they're prescribing opioids and very addictive substances that are way more expensive. You could argue I'm still smoking. I mean, I vape too. I mean, I mostly vape CBD products, so at least it's less carcinogens. That's what people want to stick to, is like, no matter what, it's bad. Well, maybe. But it's not as bad as the alcohol that you're ruining your liver with. It's not as bad as the tobacco or the nicotine that you're addicting to, and it's ruining probably a person's hormones if you're just vaping the nicotine. I think most of us would agree that it's not a good habit to start anymore. I want to think, I mean, I do think that less kids in school are starting to smoke tobacco. And I've even heard like a lot less of them they're not even touching marijuana until college, which I didn't either. Just to throw that out there. The only drugs I took in high school were alcohol and tobacco. So that's my story, and it's why I quit. If you found it helpful, please like this video. Leave a comment below, something that helped you quit smoking. Some people I know did gum and patches, and I never tried. I think I maybe tried the gum for a short time. I know the patches I never tried. I saw too many people fail on them. So I don't know. Maybe they're not as bad as I think. But anyway, leave your comments below. Help each other out. Stay strong. Don't smoke. Till the next one.